Ottawa Senators versus Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres return home seeking to end a frustrating early season skid as they host the Ottawa Senators at KeyBank Center on October 15th. Both teams are searching for stability in the young 2025-26 campaign, but their paths diverge sharply. Ottawa, 1-2-0, has flashed offensive promise while struggling defensively, whereas Buffalo, 0-3-0, remains winless and in desperate need of a spark. With both squads mired in the lower half of the Atlantic Division standings, this divisional clash carries early implications for teams trying to avoid falling too far behind surging Florida, Boston, and Montreal. For Ottawa, the storyline centers on rediscovering consistency after alternating between explosive wins and costly breakdowns. For Buffalo, it's about halting a losing streak that's quickly becoming a crisis. The goaltending matchup provides a compelling subplot. Ottawa turns once again to Linus Ullmark, whose uneven start, 1-2-0, 4.07 GAA, .842 %, reflects both his rust and the Senators' defensive lapses. Ullmark, a former Sabre, faces his old team for the first time this season and will be motivated to remind Buffalo what it lost. Opposite him, veteran Alex Lyon has quietly been Buffalo's most stable player amid chaos, posting a 2.73 GAA and .919 save percentage despite 3 losses. Lyon's composure under siege has kept games close, but his offense has yet to reward him. The crease duel thus represents 2 goalies in contrasting positions. Ullmark looking to rebound behind a porous defense, Lyon battling valiantly behind a goal-starved squad. Whichever netminder withstands early pressure may dictate the flow of the night. Offensively, the Senators have leaned heavily on center Shane Pinto, who leads the team with 5 points, 4 goals, 1 assist, through 3 games. Pinto's finishing touch on the power play, 18.2% conversion rate, has been a rare constant for an Ottawa lineup, missing its emotional leader, Brady Tkachuk. Tkachuk's absence due to injury, out until mid-November, leaves a glaring leadership void, though his 3 assists before the setback underscore his playmaking value. Depth scoring remains inconsistent. The Senators' 2.67 goals per game have come largely from their top line. Still, when they find rhythm, Ottawa can overwhelm opponents, evidenced by a 7-1 rout of St. Louis earlier this month. Buffalo's offense has been lifeless, averaging only 0.67 goals per game with 1 shutout and minimal production otherwise. Thompson leads with a lone goal on 18 shots, while veterans Zucker and Tuch have just 2 points combined. Their 0% power play highlights the drought. Once viewed as contenders, the Sabres now face glaring scoring and execution issues, leaving coach Don Granato under pressure to spark a turnaround. Recent form shows 2 teams in trouble. Ottawa has dropped 2 straight after a strong start, losing 6-2 to Florida and 4-1 to Nashville, revealing defensive flaws and overdependence on Pinto. Buffalo remains winless in 5 games dating to preseason, with back-to-back losses to Pittsburgh. Despite signs of progress, defensive errors and costly penalties persist. Their 0-for-26 power play drought and lack of depth scoring are glaring issues that must improve to escape the Atlantic cellar. The standings raise the stakes. Florida, Boston, and Montreal lead the division at 3-1-0, while Ottawa's 2 points keep it just ahead of last-place Buffalo. A win would revive the Senators' momentum. A loss could deepen early concerns. For Buffalo, a 4th straight home defeat might heighten pressure on management and hurt morale amid key injuries to Samuelsson, Kesselring, and Luukkonen. Ottawa, missing only Tkachuk's leadership and edge, stays mostly healthy. Depth and injuries may prove decisive. Buffalo's depleted blue line, missing Samuelsson and Kesselring, must contain Pinto's line without exhausting its top pair. With Norris, Meyer, and Luukkonen sidelined, Lyon carries a heavy load. Ottawa's healthier defense still struggles with puck movement and discipline, racking up 42 penalty minutes in 3 games, a risk even against Buffalo's faltering power play. Ullmark's Buffalo return could anchor Ottawa's defense, while Thompson's finishing might decide Buffalo's fate. Special teams could swing it. Ottawa's steady power play versus Buffalo's overworked but perfect penalty kill. If Pinto stays hot and Lyon faces another barrage, Ottawa's sharper finishing could win out. Ottawa 4, Buffalo 2. Expect the Senators' offense to rebound against a depleted Sabres defense, with Pinto extending his hot streak and Ullmark earning redemption against his former club. Buffalo's effort should be spirited, but until the Sabres rediscover scoring rhythm and regain health on defense, Ottawa holds the edge. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Ottawa Senators winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Florida Panthers versus Detroit Red Wings. Atlantic Division rivals collide as the Florida Panthers 3-1-0 visit the Detroit Red Wings 2-1-0 in a pivotal early season matchup at Little Caesars Arena. Florida enters tied atop the division with Boston and Montreal at 6 points, while Detroit sits 2 back and seeks to make an early statement. Florida's balanced play and strong goaltending face Detroit's veteran-led offense and growing depth, creating a compelling clash of contrasting styles. Goaltending headlines this matchup. Florida's Sergei Bobrovsky has been excellent, opening 3-0 with a 1.67 goals against average and .925 save percentage. His rebound control and poise have carried a Panthers defense that's allowed just 2.5 goals per game. Backup Daniil Tarasov, 3.11 GAA, .850 SV%, has offered depth, but Bobrovsky's reliability remains the difference. Detroit counters with Cam Talbot, who's mirrored Bobrovsky's .925 save percentage while going 2-0 with a 2.11 GAA. Talbot's calm under pressure has stabilized Detroit's defense, particularly in their 6-5 overtime win over Toronto. John Gibson's struggles, 8.07 GAA, .615 SV%, mean the Red Wings will again rely on Talbot to outduel one of the NHL's best. The game could hinge on which veteran netminder blinks first. Offensively, Florida's Brad Marchand leads the way with 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, proving ageless as the focal point of a retooled forward group. Anton Lundell adds 2 goals on 13 shots, while defenseman Gustav Forsling's 3 assists highlight his two-way value. Even without stars Matthew Tkachuk and Alexander Barkov, Florida's depth and defensive scoring have kept them potent. Detroit's attack, meanwhile, flows through its star trio: Patrick Kane, 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists; Dylan Larkin, 2 goals, 12 shots; and Alex DeBrincat, 4A. Kane's vision, Larkin's energy, and DeBrincat's quick release make Detroit's top line one of the East's most dynamic. The key challenge: maintaining that output against Florida's disciplined defense, which excels at limiting high-danger chances. Recent form paints 2 teams trending upward. Florida opened with emphatic wins over Tampa Bay, 7-0, and Ottawa, 6-2, displaying dominance at both ends. Their lone stumble, a 5-2 loss to Philadelphia, exposed some defensive lapses under sustained pressure. Florida averages 3.25 goals per game while allowing 2.5, with elite special teams, 35.3% power play, 100% penalty kill. Detroit matches offensively at 3.33 goals per game, but also concedes 3.33. Despite defensive lapses, Detroit's back-to-back wins over Toronto highlight resilience and growing chemistry. Their 25% power play and 85.7% penalty kill show a team balancing creativity with discipline. Injuries could heavily influence this matchup. Florida remains without stars Barkov, IR, until April 26, and Tkachuk out until December 15, leaving Marchand and Forsling to shoulder leadership roles. Kulikov's expected October. 18 return should boost the defense, though Nosek's absence out until December. 10 hurts depth. Detroit's situation is milder. Raymond, day-to-day, may return soon, while prospects Bouillon and Danielson remain out. The Red Wings' health edge and home crowd could give them an early push. This matchup carries early divisional weight. Florida leads the Atlantic with 6 points, while Detroit and Toronto trail by 2. A Red Wings win would tighten the race, but a Panthers victory could widen their lead. Both teams know early divisional setbacks can prove costly in such a competitive group. For Florida, Bobrovsky's poise and strong special teams can blunt Detroit's speed. Staying disciplined will be key against Kane's creativity and DeBrincat's power play threat. Detroit, meanwhile, needs secondary scoring beyond Larkin's line to exploit Florida's injury-thinned depth. Their quick transition game could also pressure a Panthers defense that has shown cracks under heavy forechecking. Statistically, Florida holds a slight edge thanks to stronger defense and goaltending. The Panthers dominate possession, outshooting foes 31-23 per game, and thrive in special teams situations. Detroit leans on speed and creativity, keeping the matchup close. Metrics give Florida about a 52% win chance, but with home energy and a sharp Talbot, Detroit can turn it into a true toss-up. Ultimately, expect a tight playoff-style contest defined by defensive discipline and opportunistic scoring. Florida's structural consistency and Bobrovsky's form give them a narrow advantage, while Detroit's star power and home energy promise a competitive, physical affair. Florida 3, Detroit 2. The Panthers' defense and Bobrovsky's stellar goaltending seal a tight divisional win. Marchand and Lundell drive the offense, while Talbot keeps Detroit close in a strong effort that falls just short against the Atlantic leaders. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Florida Panthers winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Chicago Blackhawks versus St. Louis Blues. The Chicago Blackhawks head into St. Louis to take on the Blues in a Central Division clash that pits two teams trending in opposite directions early in the 2025-26 NHL season. The Blackhawks, at 1-2-1 and still searching for consistency, face a Blues squad sitting at 2-1-0 with momentum from back-to-back offensive wins. For Chicago, it's about stabilizing their defensive structure after a rocky start, while St. Louis aims to build on recent offensive bursts that have lifted them into the middle of the divisional race. With both teams looking to make statements in an already competitive Central Division, led by Colorado and Dallas, this matchup carries early season significance for teams hoping to stay within reach of the leaders. Goaltending will play a pivotal role in determining the outcome. Chicago's netminder Spencer Knight, 1-2-0, 2.35 GAA, 920 SV%, has provided solid numbers despite limited goal support. But backup Arvid Söderblom's struggles, 0-1-0, 3.92 GAA, 0.879 SV%, have exposed the team's defensive inconsistencies. On the other end, St. Louis counters with Jordan Binnington, 1-1-0, 3.50 GAA, 0.860 SV%, a proven veteran known for high-pressure performances, and emerging backup Joel Hofer, 1-0-0, 2.00 GAA, 0.931 SV%, whose sharp play has given the Blues confidence between the pipes. The matchup is intriguing. Knight's technical poise versus Binnington's aggressive, emotional style. If Hofer draws the start, expect a more controlled defensive game from St. Louis, as his steadiness allows the Blues skaters to push offensively without hesitation. The team that manages its crease more effectively, especially during odd-man rushes, will likely dictate the tempo. Offensively, Chicago continues to rely on Teuvo Teravainen's creativity and leadership. Teravainen leads the team with 5 points, 1 goal, 4 assists, driving both even strength and power play sequences. Rookie phenom Connor Bedard remains a dangerous scorer with 2 goals, both coming on the power play, showcasing his quick release and instinct for open space. Yet the Blackhawks' offensive depth has been inconsistent, with too few secondary scorers supporting the top line. In contrast, the Blues have found more balanced production. Jake Neighbors leads St. Louis with 3 goals and 3 points, while Nathan Walker adds 2 assists, showcasing the Blues' strong cycling. Their 22.2% power play contrasts with Chicago's 15.4%, highlighting an area the Blackhawks must improve to stay competitive in this divisional matchup. Both teams' recent form tells the story of their current trajectories. The Blackhawks' last 5 outings have yielded a mixed bag, a resilient 3-1 win over Utah, but losses to Montreal, 3-2, Boston, 4-3 overtime, and Florida, 3-2. Their lone bright spot came when defensive gaps were minimized and Knight was well protected. St. Louis comes in with offensive confidence after wins over Vancouver, 5-2, and Calgary, 4-2, bouncing back from a 5-0 loss to Minnesota. Their 7-1 rout of Ottawa highlighted their ability to dominate weaker defenses when forecheck and puck movement align. At home, the Blues' energy rises, making Enterprise Center a potential advantage against a developing Chicago team. Injuries impact both rosters. Chicago is without Slaggert, IR, Anderson, IRNR, out until October 26, and Weber, IRLT, weakening forechecking and defensive depth. St. Louis misses Sundqvist and Toropchenko, out until October 18, Dean, IRNR, back in November, and possibly Lucic day-to-day, reducing physicality. Both teams will depend on younger contributors to sustain tempo and grit. In the Central Division, both teams sit near the middle. Chicago's 3 points, 1-2-1, trail leaders Colorado, 7, and Dallas, 6, while St. Louis, with 4 points, sits just above the Hawks. Early season parity means a single win can shift standings. The Blues aim to stay above .500 to bolster playoff hopes, while Chicago focuses on developing Bedard and young talent without losing touch with contention. For Chicago, power play efficiency and Bedard's lane creation under pressure are vital, while Teravainen's playmaking could challenge St. Louis's defense. For the Blues, disciplined defense and neutral zone puck control are crucial against Chicago's transitions. Goaltending, Binnington's intensity, or Hofer's composure may ultimately tip the balance at home. St. Louis's deeper offense and home ice advantage give them the edge over a developing Chicago team. The Blues' balanced attack and efficient special teams should prevail if Neighbors and Walker stay sharp. Knight may keep it close, but expect St. Louis to win 4-2, extending their early season surge while Chicago continues its growth amid growing pains. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is St. Louis Blues winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Calgary Flames versus Utah Mammoth. The Calgary Flames enter Salt Lake City on Wednesday night, desperate to halt an early season skid, while the Utah Mammoth look to build on flashes of competitiveness in their inaugural campaign. Calgary, 1-3-0, sits at the bottom of the Pacific Division standings with just 2 points, struggling to find defensive consistency and reliable goaltending. Utah, 1-2-0, meanwhile, has shown resilience in the Central Division despite limited offensive firepower, aiming to capitalize on home ice at the Delta Center to even their record. For Calgary, this game represents a chance to reset after consecutive losses and regain form before falling further behind in the Pacific race. For Utah, it's about sustaining the momentum of a promising first win and proving they can compete with veteran-laden teams. In goal, both sides bring intriguing contrasts. The Flames are expected to start Dustin Wolf, who holds a 1-3-0 record with a 3.77 goals against average and a .873 save percentage. Wolf's athleticism and quick glove have yet to translate into consistent results, largely due to Calgary's defensive lapses and penalty troubles. Across the ice, Utah's Karel Vejdmelka, 1-0-0, 1.99 goals against average, .918 save percentage, has been sharp in limited action, providing calm and positioning that stabilize the Mammoths' young blue line. If Utah opts for Vitek Vanacek, 0-1-0, 2.01 GAA, .846 S%, they'll rely more on veteran experience but risk inconsistency under heavy shot volume. Calgary's offensive pressure, averaging nearly 30 shots per game, could test Utah's net-minding depth early and often. Offensively, the spotlight shines on Matt Coronado for the Flames and Dylan Guenther for the Mammoth. Coronado has notched 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist through 4 games, including a power play marker and team-leading 7 shots. His ability to find soft ice in the slot has been a rare bright spot in an otherwise stagnant offense, averaging just 2.00 goals per game. Complementing him, Joel Farabee, 2 assists, +2 rating, has been active in transition play, though Calgary's secondary scoring remains thin without key injured forwards. For Utah, Guenther has been the clear offensive catalyst, posting 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, in 3 games with a team-best +3 differential. His shot selection and vision on the power play have made him a threat from the right circle. The Mammoth, however, still rank near the bottom of the league with 1.67 goals per game, relying heavily on Guenther's line to generate sustained pressure. Recent form tells the story of 2 teams at different stages of cohesion. Calgary has dropped 3 straight following an opening shootout win in Edmonton. Their last 5 include lopsided defeats to Vancouver, 5-1, and Vegas, 4-2, exposing defensive fragility and poor puck management. The Flames' penalty kill sits at 78.6%, and they've allowed 4.00 goals per contest, the worst mark in the Pacific Division. Utah, conversely, has won 2 of its last 3, including a gritty 2-1 victory over Los Angeles that showcased improved structure and goaltending. Still, their offense has been streaky, alternating between productive outings like the 6-4 win over San Jose and quiet showings such as the 3-1 loss to Chicago. Injuries could be pivotal. Calgary is missing Jonathan Huberdeau, IR back October 18, and Martin Pospisil, IR October 20, losing key scoring and veteran leadership. Without Huberdeau, Calgary's top line struggles to hold the puck in the offensive zone. Utah faces multiple absences, including key defenseman Sean Dursey, out until November 12, and goalie Anson Thornton, IRNR October 26. Depth defensemen Juuso Välimäki and Terrell Goldsmith also remain out, forcing Utah to rely on young, inexperienced blue liners against Calgary's forecheck. Calgary sits 8th in the Pacific, 2 points behind Vegas, and another loss would worsen their position. Utah, tied for last in the Central, could move up with a win, gaining confidence and momentum. While playoff implications are minimal, this game is key for morale and shaping each team's identity. Special teams and goaltending will be decisive. Calgary's 13.3% power play must exploit Utah's weak penalty kill, while Wolf's rebound control is key against Guenther. Utah needs discipline, limiting penalties and staying structured in front of Välimäki to counter Calgary's shots. Calgary's defensive breakouts will also be tested by Utah's transition speed. Expect a close, low-scoring game with strong goaltending. Calgary's urgency and shot volume may give them a slight edge, especially if Coronado and Farabee score early. Utah's defense keeps it tight, but injuries and depth issues could hurt late. Final, Flames 3, Mammoth 2, OT. Calgary ends its losing streak. Utah shows promise despite the loss. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Utah Mammoth winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.